welcome to another episode of the Chaos Chronicles.
Navigating the randomness.
I'm Jess.
I'm Connie.
And today we are back for our final book episode of Breaking Dawn and the final book chapter of the Twilight Saga.
Y'all, it has been so long. But before I get into that, just a reminder, you can find us at all of our social media. They are linked below. We also have our email there, so you can email us with any suggestions for episodes or even just to say hi. We like those. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe. Okay, happy part over. Y'all, this has been long, arduous, torturous. Give me other adverbs here. Adjectives. All of them. It's been rough.
It's been well over a year of recording. A year actually posting. So it's been a journey. Thank you so much for those of you who have stuck through this journey with us. And yes. I'm sorry to those of you who thought that you would come on here for a real, we love Twilight, die-hard fans, because, that's what Connie thought that she was.
Okay, I did not think I was a twihard. I'm bringing it back. I didn't think I was a twihard, but I remembered it not being this bad and being like, oh, I enjoy this. And it was my first supernatural fantasy series that I read. So a little bit of nostalgia. And now it's like cheese in a can. For those outside of the US and you are going, what the heck is that? It's what it sounds like. It's spray cheese in a can.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. As a child, awesome. Were I to have it as an adult, I'd probably be like, not quite. Questionable. So Twilight is spray cheese.
Yeah.
There we go. I just summed up the entirety of the 4 books. Spray cheese. Craft spray cheese.
Well, on that note, are you ready to hop into the final chapters?
Let's get her done. I'm thinking about cheese. Now I'm hungry. Dang it.
Well, we'll get through this and then you can go get a snack.
I do have cheese. Not spray cheese, but cheese.
All right, so today we're going to be going over chapters 37, 38, and 39. So 37, Arrow waved his guards forward. Edward immediately backed up, pulling Bella and Emmett with them. Jacob slowly returned. His fur was standing up, and he was baring his fangs at Arrow. Renesmee grabbed his tail as they retreated. Caius started arguing with Aro. Aro calmly tells him everything is true. There are many witnesses who have seen the child grow and mature. There is warm blood that pulses through her veins. Caius went from looking angry to nervous. When they waited, Bella inspected her shield. She made the dome lower, and she could feel each individual under her shield. She decreased the shield to cover only her side. When Carlisle moved, it moved with him. It clung to him. Bella then did the same for the others and allies. Bella then did the same to the other friends and allies. Bella then panicked. The wolves are unprotected. Once Bella was able to get Sam under her shield, the rest were protected. They were more interconnected than even Bella imagined, which is really cool to think about, by the way.
I'm so glad I wasn't just crazy, because I remember reading that line, or I thought I did. And I just remember thinking that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, their minds are connected, and maybe that's why it's easy for Bella to do this. But they're connected on such a deeper level than just the bond
just telepathy. Yeah.
Caius brings up the wolves and asks Arrow if he will defend that alliance too. They are their enemies and they've hunted them to near extinction, and yet Carlisle encourages a family relationship with this infestation. There is no doubt that they intend to overthrow them so they can protect their warped lifestyle. Edward clears his throat and tells Caius it's the middle of the day. They're not the children of the moon and bear no relation to their enemies on the other side of the world. They're not even werewolves, and Arrow can tell him if Caius doesn't believe Edward. Arrow murmurs to Caius he would have to warn him to not press this if he knew his thoughts. Although the creatures think of themselves as werewolves, they aren't. A better name for them would be shapeshifters, and the wolf form was just by chance. It could have been any other animal when the first change was made. Could you imagine? What if it was a grizzly bear?
A werebear.
A werebear.
Where? That sounds like Bear's alter ego when he goes feral.
Should we start calling bear werebear?
When he's just absolute feral. Oh no, it's a werebear attack.
It's a werebear attack. I'm going to use that.
Please do.
Werebear attack. Because he does have an alter ego.
He does. He very much does. And you know, you're right. It could have been any other animal. But what if it was like a deer or an elk? I mean,
What if it was a rabbit?
Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit. Actually a cute little movie. Oh! They are also about cheese and crackers, and now I'm still thinking about cheese and crackers. The joys of being a girl. Once you start thinking about cheese, it's on the brain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right, sorry, vampires.
Werebears.
Werebears.
They have nothing to do with children of the moon. They have just inherited skills from their fathers. It's passed genetically, not by infection. Caius took a deep breath. Side note. Is that why Caius is so upset and so dead set on destroying them because of the wolves?
Maybe. I thought there was like a personal vendetta between Caius and the werewolves, but I don't.
I think there is.
Yeah, I'm not remembering what it is right now.
Maybe we get to it.
We'll find out, and if we don't, let us know in the comments. Thank you.
I do remember reading something about that.
Yeah, it's in there.
It's in there. Caius took a deep breath, and Bella noted Arrow's careful wording. False charges wouldn't convince the witnesses on either side. He was telling Caius to move on to the next strategy. Caius announces that he wants to talk to the informant. Irina's face was full of agony. Caius tells her she made a false allegation. Irina apologizes, and Arrow interjects that no one could have expected her to guess something so strange and impossible. Any of them would have thought the exact same thing. Caius continues, he knows she made a mistake. He wanted to know her motivation for coming to spy on them in the first place. She was already upset with the Cullens, and he wants to know why she was coming back. Irina tells him because the werewolves killed her friend, and the Cullens wouldn't stand aside to let her avenge him, and that's how she saw it. Caius prompts her. If she would like to make a formal complaint against the shapeshifters and the Cullens, now was the time. Irina squared her shoulders. No, she has no complaint for either of them. They came here today to destroy an immortal child, and none exist. It was her mistake, and she will own it. The Cullens are innocent, and they have no reason to still be here. She apologizes. Caius raises his hand. He was holding a metal object. In a flash, there was a metallic screeching in the clearing, and a fire was started for Irina's remains.
Yeah, they just like murked, whatever the verb is from video games. Yeah, they just kind of killed
Yeah.
her quick.
I feel like Caius had such a, I mean, I've been saying this, like he has a thirst for blood. He is out to kill someone. And right now he's like, I'm backed into a corner. My last hope for something is Irina.
See, when I first read it, I took it as this was a prompt. Like he was like, all right, well, guess we have to have a new charge, which will be them attacking us. We need to provoke that. And we can cover the provoking under she made a false allegation.
Yeah. No, I saw that too. But then when she's like, no, like it was my mistake, he could have shown mercy because it was a true, honest mistake, like Arrow even said. But he's like, nope, bye bye, Dunzo.
No, I truly, like, in the back of my brain, I have nothing to base this on other than human history. Um, I truly believe that, like, something happened between Marcus Caius and Aro when they're having that discussion, and where Bella's like, oh, it's a new strategy. I feel like they've done the same exact thing in the past where they kill the informant to provoke. So I think, like, regardless, like, she was
Oh,
never going to get mercy unless, like,
gotcha.
they actually did have an immortal child. That was the only way, like, Irina would have any mercy. And then she'd probably be, like, forced to join the Volturi if she was deemed valuable.
Hmm.
But otherwise, I think the
Wow.
plan the entire time was to just kill her
Yeah.
and then just hope that it'll provoke Cullen and Co. to charge at them so that they can have justification.
Cullen and Co.
Yeah. It's actually a really unique strategy that is studied in nonviolence tactic courses because aggressive authoritarian governments actually do this with nonviolent movements, where they put in like an agent saboteur or someone to react strongly and provoke the nonviolent movement. And if that doesn't work, the authoritarian government will do something that will make the nonviolent movement like react a little bit, but it's enough for that government or that authoritarian regime to justify completely overwhelmingly squashing the nonviolent movement.
Hmm.
Like it's very much a thing.
Wow.
Shocker, shocker. This is public records. The CIA like to do this a lot in Central America and South America.
Hmm.
Human history, ain't it fun?
Usually not so much. I mean, we just learned about the when would this come out? We just talked about the anthrax
Scare of
scare
2001.
letters attacks. And that will probably be the week before. It's going to be a
I think
two-parter.
it's
So,
I think it's the Wednesday before this episode aired.
yep. So we will have just finished up our second part this past Wednesday. So both parts should be up.
So y'all should check that out on our Who Knows What Wednesday playlist.
And that one is with me and Trent. And it was a lot of fun. Caius gave a cold smile. Now she has taken full responsibility for her actions. Carlisle holds Tanya back and tells her it's too late to help. Don't give him what he wants. Kate was harder to control.
See.
Wrote,
Sorry.
yep, nope, you're just, yep, your point has been proven.
Again, on my tombstone, I wasn't wrong.
Hey,
And
I didn't
loving
say that
wife.
this time.
Yeah, I mean, like, also put like the loving wife, loving friend, sister, mother one day, who, like
But
all
I
that other stuff.
wasn't
But
wrong.
I wasn't wrong needs to be the biggest.
Kate was harder to contain. Rose tried to hold her, but Kate shocked her so violently that she was on the ground. Emmett and Garrett tried as well. Edward shouted to Zafrina Tanya hissed to give her her sight back. Carlisle tells them to listen. Vengeance won't help her now. Irina wouldn't want them to waste their lives. If they attack, they will die. They finally stilled. The Volturi guards were now crouched forward, waiting for an attack. Their witnesses were confused, then suspicious. The death of Irina shocked all of them. Without immediate attack, the Volturi witnesses were not sure what was going on. Arrow lightly touched Caius's shoulder and tells him Irina has been punished for bearing false witness. Perhaps they should return to the matter at hand. Arrow moved forward. Renata, Felix, and Dmitri moved with him. He would like to speak with some witnesses as procedure. Caius's eyes focused on Arrow, and his cruel smile was back, and Edward hissed. Bella wanted to know what Edward knew. Arrow questioned Amun. When Arrow asks if he thinks Renesmee should be allowed to live, there were many hisses in response, even a few from the Volturi witnesses. Edward wrapped his hands around Bella's wrist. Amun tells Arrow he didn't come to make judgments, but he sees no danger in the child as she learns more swiftly than she grows. Amun tells Arrow he gave his witness and now he has no business here. He would like to take his mate and leave. Arrow smiles and tells him, of course, he is sure that they will see each other again very soon. Dun dun dun. Amun takes Kibi, Kebi, and they run.
I actually don't know.
Chaban is questioned next. He would add more than Amun. Renesmee understands limitations. She is no danger to humans and blends better than they do. She poses no threat to exposure. Arrow tells them there were no broken laws, but there is danger and that cannot be ignored. Everyone was silent. Arrow continued that if they knew the child's potential with absolute certainty, she could remain. But they don't know what she will become. Her parents have fears of her future. They can't know what she will become. Only the known is safe and tolerable. The unknown is a vulnerability. Carlisle tells him that he is reaching. Garrett offers to tell his side. He came to witness at Carlisle's request. That is certainly no longer needed in regard to the child. We got another book quote. We only have a couple more left.
Music to my ears.
I stayed to witness something else. You. He jabbed his finger toward the weary vampires. Two of you, I know McKenna, Charles, and I can see that many of you others are also wanderers, roamers like myself, answering to no one. Think carefully on what I tell you now. These ancient ones did not come here for justice as they told you. We suspected as much, and now it has been proved. They came misled, but with valid excuses for their action. Witness now as they seek flimsy excuses to continue their true mission. Witness them struggle to find a justification for their true purpose, to destroy this family here. He gestured toward Carlisle and Tanya. The Volturi come to erase what they perceive as the competition. Perhaps, like me, you look at this clan's golden eyes and marvel. They are difficult to understand, it's true, but the ancient ones look and see something besides their strange choice. They see power. I have witnessed the bonds within this family. I say family and not coven. These strange golden-eyed ones deny their very natures. But in return, they have found something worth even more, perhaps, than mere gratification of desire. I've made a little study of them in my time here, and it seems to me that intrinsic to this intense family binding, that which makes them possible at all, is this peaceful character of this life of satisfaction. There is no aggression here, like we all saw in the large southern clans that grew and diminished so quickly in their wild feuds. There is no thought for domination, and Arrow knows this better than I do. I watched Arrow's face as Garrett's words condemned him, waiting tensely for some response. But Arrow's face was only politely amused, as if waiting for a tantrum throwing child to realize that no one was paying attention to his histrionics. Carlyle assured us all, when he told us what was coming, that he did not call us here to fight. These witnesses, Garrett point to Shaban and Liam, agreed to give evidence to slow the Volturi advance with their presence so that Carlyle would be able to get the chance to present his case. But some of us wondered. His eyes flashed to Eleazar's face. If Carlyle having truth on his side would be enough to stop the so-called justice. Are the Volturi here to protect the safety of our secrecy or to protect their own power? Did they come to destroy an illegal creation or a way of life? Could they be satisfied when the danger turned out to be no more than a misunderstanding, or would they push the issue without the excuse of justice? We have the answer to all these questions. We heard it in Arrow's lying words. We have one with a gift of knowing such things for certain, and we see it now in Caius's eager smile. Their guide is just a mindless weapon, a tool in their master's quest for domination. So now there are more questions, questions that you must answer. Who rules you, nomads? Do you answer to someone besides your own? Are you free to choose your own path, or will the Volturi decide how you will live? I came to witness. I stay to fight. The Volturi care nothing for the death of the child. They seek the death of our free will. He turned, then faced the ancients. So come, I say, let's hear no more lying rationalizations. Be honest in your intents, as we will be honest in ours. We will defend our freedom. You will or will not attack it. Choose now and let these witnesses see the true issues debated here. Once more, he looked into the Volturi's witnesses, his eyes probing each face. The power of his words was evident in their expressions. You might consider joining us. If you think the Volturi will let you live to tell this tale, you are mistaken. We may all be destroyed, he shrugged, but then again, maybe not. Perhaps we are on more equal footing than they know. Perhaps the Volturi have finally met their match. I promise you this, though, if we fall, so do you. He ended his heated speech by stepping back to Kate's side and then sliding forward in a half crouch, prepared for onslaught. Arrow smiled. A very pretty speech, my revolutionary friend. Garrett remained poised for attack. Revolutionary, he growled. Who am I revolting against, might I ask? Are you my king? Do you wish me to call you master too, like your sycophantic guard? Peace, Garrett, Arrow said tolerantly. I meant only to refer to your time of birth. Still a patriot, I see. Garrett glared back furiously. Long quote,
Long
but oh
quote.
my gosh.
I think it's the most we've heard from Garrett.
I
Period.
really like Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I vibe. I definitely vibe with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can definitely tell. I don't know what revolution he was born around, but you can
American.
definitely American Revolution. Ah, that's
Mm-hmm.
right. We did say that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. but that you can definitely tell.
Oh, yeah.
Arrow asks his witnesses what they think. Do they take the risk and let the child live? Do they put their world in jeopardy to preserve their family, or will you join them and fight against the Volturi? McKenna responds, they didn't come here to fight. They came here to witness, and their witness is that the condemned family is innocent. Everything that Garrett claimed is true. Arrow is sorry they see it that way, but it's the nature of work. McKenna, Charles, and one other began to retreat. Bella looked at the others who stayed. Some appeared too confused to respond. Arrow then turned to the remaining and told them they are outnumbered should they leave with the question undecided to save themselves. No, master, they responded. Arrow, Caius, and Marcus eagerly say, let us counsel. Bella loosens Renesmee's arm from her neck and asks if she remembers what she told her. Renesmee's eyes teared up. She nods and says she loves her. Edward was watching them, eyes wide. Jacob was also staring. Bella kissed her and says that she loves her too, more than her own life. Jacob whines and tells him to wait until they're distracted, then run with her. When he has gone as far as he can, she has everything that they need to get them in the air. Edward and Jacob's eyes were almost identical, both horrified. Edward knew that this is what she kept from him. Bella corrects, from Arrow. Arrow. Why did I all of a sudden switch? I don't know which is right anymore, so whatever. Edward asks Alice, and Bella nods. He understands. Edward kissed Renesmee's forehead, both cheeks, and then placed her on Jacob's shoulders. Jacob turned to Bella, eyes full of agony. She tells him he is the only one they could ever trust with her. She knows he can protect her. Jacob whined and butted his head to her shoulder. Oh my God, why am I tearing up?
It is sweet. It's a sweet little moment.
Oh, this is I'm very overly emotional. Half because life stresses, half because it's also that time of the month.
Hormones,
I just
man.
want to cry right now.
Do you have chocolate? That'll help.
I do have chocolate. It's all the way downstairs. So after this episode.
There you go. You go for chocolate. I go for cheese. Ooh, chocolate sounds good. Cheese and chocolate? No.
Cheese and then chocolate.
And then cheese again.
Yeah.
And then chocolate.
Just not together.
Nachos? Nachos.
Ooh, nachos sound good.
Nachos.
All right. We got kind of another long one and another book quote. Hopefully I can make it through this without crying. I think I know what's happening, but
You got it.
Okay. Wish me luck.
You can do it. Yes, yes, yes.
Edward's and Jacob's faces were almost identical masks of horror, despite the fact that one of them was an animal. Renesmee reached for Edward and he took her in his arms. They hugged each other tightly. This is what you kept from me, he whispered over her head. From Arrow, I breathed. Alice? I nodded. His face twisted with understanding and pain. Had that been the expression on my face when I'd finally put together Alice's clues? Jacob was growling quietly, a low rasp that was even and unbroken as a purr. His hackles were stiff and his teeth exposed. Edward kissed Renesmee's forehead and both of her cheeks and then lifted her onto Jacob's shoulders. She scrambled agilely onto his back, pulling herself into place with handfuls of his fur, and fit herself easily into the dip between his massive shoulder blades. Jacob turned to me, his expressive eyes full of agony. the rumbling growl still grating through his chest. You're the only one I would ever trust her with, I murmured to him. If you didn't love her so much, I could never bear this. I know you can protect her, Jacob. He whined again and dipped his head to butt against my shoulders. I know, I whispered. I love you too, Jake. You'll always be my best man.
Aww.
A tear the size of a baseball rolled into the russet fur beneath his eye. Edward leaned his head against the same shoulder where he'd placed Renesmee. Goodbye, Jacob, my brother, my son. The others were not oblivious to this farewell scene. Their eyes were locked on the silent black triangle, but I could tell they were listening. Is there no hope then? Carlyle whispered. There was no fear in his voice, just determination and acceptance. There is absolutely hope, I murmured back. It could be true, I told myself. I only knew my own fate. Edward took my hand. He knew that he was included. When I said my fate, there was no question that I meant the two of us. We were just halves of the whole. Esme's breath was ragged behind me. She moved past us, touching our faces as she passed, to stand beside Carlyle and hold his hand. Suddenly, we were surrounded by murmured goodbyes and I love yous. If we lived through this, Garrett whispered to Kate, I'll follow you anywhere, woman.
Aww.
Now he tells me she muttered.
Murders. Ooh.
Ooh. Rosalie and Emmett kissed quickly but passionately. Tia caressed Benjamin's face. He smiled back cheerfully, catching her hand and holding it against her cheek. I didn't see all of the expressions of love and pain. I was distracted by a sudden fluttering pressure against the outside of my shield. I couldn't tell where it came from, but it felt like I was directed at the edges of our group, Shaban and Liam particularly. The pressure did no damage, and then it was gone. There was no change in the silent, still forms of the counseling ancients, but perhaps there was some signal I'd missed. Get ready, I whispered to the others. It's starting. End of chapter 37.
Shall we just roll right in?
Yeah, made
Need a
it through
second?
that chapter. No, I'm okay. It just I remember reading that and I was so overwhelmed with emotions reading that. Guys, I might make fun of this book cuz it's really not, but after a year of deep diving in Twilight and picking it apart, you
Yeah,
do
you're
start
gonna get a little emotional.
yeah.
I remember definitely being emotional the first time I read this, not knowing what was coming next. I was very much like, what's happening?
Yeah, and all I have in my head at this point is Connie's voice telling me someone big dies. I'm like, I totally forgot about Irina at this point. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, it's on. Who's going? Anything else on 37, or are you good to go into 38?
Let's do 38.
38. Edward tells Bella that Chelsea is trying to break their bindings, but she can't find them. Then asks if this is Bella. She smiles. She's all over it. Edward lurched away from Bella to Carlyle. At the same time, Bella felt a jab at her shield. It wasn't pleasant, but not painful. Edward asks if Bella is all right because Jane tried to attack. Jane continues to attempt to attack, but she isn't doing any damage to the shield and no one has been affected. Edward tells them this is part of normal procedure. They usually incapacitate those on trial so they can't escape, which is wild. That's a choice. its choice. Jane is staring at them. She is furious and in disbelief. Bella felt a huge jab in her direction, but was not affected. She smiled back at Jane, and Jane let out a high pitched scream of a snarl. Everyone except the ancients jumped. The Romanians started to chuckle with dark anticipation. Vladimir tells Stefan he told him this was wartime. Stefan chortled, "Just look at the witch's face." Alec patted her shoulder, tucked her under his arm, and turned to face them. Bella waited for the attack, and Edward tells her his attack is slower and will hit in a few seconds. Bella pushed her shield out. What if this went right through her shield? Benjamin had seen the creeping threat and was trying to blow the mist from them, but the wind did nothing. The shadow was immune. The shadow hit a wall. There were gasps on both sides, and Benjamin, in a low voice, tells Bella, "Well done." Bella's smile returned, and Alec's eyes narrowed. Bella knew she could do this. She tells Edward she'll have to concentrate with hand-to-hand combat to keep the shield around the right people. Edward offers to protect Bella, but she tells him to get Dimitri. Zafrina will keep them away, and Zafrina assures him that she will keep Bella safe. Kate hisses, "Jane is hers. She needs a taste of her own medicine." Vladimir growls that Alec is his. Tanya wants Caius. Arrow stares calmly and speaks. Before they vote, he wants to remind them whatever the decision is, there doesn't need to be violence today. He then looks at Edward sadly. It will be a waste to lose their kind of talent, but especially Edward and his newborn mate. He tells them the Volturi will be glad to welcome others into their ranks. They should consider their many choices. The vote begins. Caius believes the child is an unknown and poses a risk. It must be destroyed with those who can protect it. Marcus says that he sees no immediate danger. The child is safe enough for now. They can reevaluate later, and they should leave in peace. The deciding vote goes to Arrow, but before he says anything, Edward asks to clarify. If they knew for sure exactly what she would become, there would be no need for a council. Arrow agrees. If there was a way to be absolutely sure, then there would be no reason for debate. Edward asks if they could guarantee would they part in peace as good friends once again. Nothing would please Arrow more than that. Edward then does have something to offer. She isn't absolutely unique. She is indeed rare, but not one of a kind. Bella was distracted by the hope, and there was a stabbing pressure against her shield. Edward asked if Arrow can tell Jane to stop attacking his wife since they're still discussing. Arrow raised one hand and says, "Peace. Let us hear him out." Edward calls out loudly, "Why don't you join us, Alice?" There is shock amongst everyone. Alice and Jasper came out with three strangers. They appear to be Amazonians, and one was obviously the sister of Zafrina, Kachiri. Kachiri? Sure. There was an olive toned female and a young man. His skin was a rich dark brown, and his eyes were the color of warm teak. He was beautiful. Alice leaped over the mist and jumped in the shield. The Cullens all reached out to touch her. The guards watched with speculation. They weren't sure what kind of shield Bella was, but after seeing this, they knew it wouldn't repel physical attacks. Edward tells them Alice had been searching for her own witnesses, and she didn't come empty-handed. Caius snarled, "The time for witnesses had passed. Arrow, cast your vote." Arrow raised a finger to silence him. His eyes were wide and glued on Alice. Alice introduced the stranger, Julian, Huilen, and her
Julian?
nephew, Null,
No.
Nahuel.
We're going to get it wrong. We're going to have to wait for the movie.
Sorry, guys. We should know by now. I can't pronounce anything.
I'm no help here.
Arrow commands them to speak. The woman tells them a century and a half ago she lived with her people and her sister Pyre, Pire. She was very beautiful, and her sister one day told her an angel found her and would visit her at night. There were bruises on her skin, and they knew of the legends, but she wouldn't listen. Pyre told her that the dark angel's child was growing inside of her and she was going to run away, so Julian went with her and cared for her. She ate animals raw and drank their blood. That was all the confirmation that Julian needed, and she hoped that she could save her sister's life before she killed the monster. Pierre loved the child and named the child Nahuel, Null,
Who?
after the jungle cat. I don't know. She even loved him when he grew and broke her bones. Hulene couldn't save her. The child ripped himself from her and she died quickly, all while begging for her to care for her son. As her dying wish, she agreed. He bit her when she lifted him from her. She tried to crawl away, but didn't get too far because the pain was too much. The child curled up to her and waited. When the pain ended, he was still there at her side waiting, and she cared for him until he could hunt for himself. They came far, but Noel wanted to see the child here. He was questioned and tells them he is around 150 years old, give or take a decade. They don't keep track. He reached maturity around 7 years after his birth and hasn't changed since. His diet consists of mostly blood, but he also eats human food and can survive on either. He was able to create an immortal, but none of his sisters are able to. A few years after his mother died, his father came to look for him and was pleased to find him. He had 2 daughters and expected him to join them as his sisters had. He was surprised to find that he wasn't alone, though. His sisters aren't venomous, and they're not sure if it's a gender thing or just random. He told his father he wasn't interested in joining them because he already had a family. He does see him from time to time and even has a new sister that reached maturity about 10 years ago. His father was Joham, and considered himself to be a scientist. He thinks he's creating a new super race. Caius asks Bella if her daughter is venomous. Bella responded no. Arrow tells Caius that there doesn't appear to be any danger, and these half vampire children are much like them. That is his vote. Caius agrees. What about Jom? Arrow agrees that he should be spoken to. Naul tells them flatly to stop Jom, but leave his sisters as they are innocent. Arrow nods and then turns to his guards, saying, Dear ones, we do not fight today. The guards nodded in unison. Bella held her shield in case this was another trick. The Volturi witnesses one by one left the woods, and soon they were all gone. Arrow held his hands out apologetically. He is glad that this could be resolved peacefully, and is pleased to be able to call Carlisle his friend once more. Carlisle tells him to leave in peace and then reminds him to not have him or his guards hunt in his region. Arrow agrees and apologizes again. Perhaps in time, Carlisle will forgive him. Carlisle responds, perhaps in time if he proves to be a friend to them again. Arrow bowed his head and drifted away. Then they were all gone. It was quiet, but Bella still held the shield. Is it really over? I whispered to Edward. His smile was huge. Yes, they've given up. Like all bullies, they're cowards underneath the swagger. He chuckled. Alice laughed with him. Seriously, people, they're not coming back. Everyone can relax now. There was another beat of silence. Of all the rotten luck, Stefan muttered. They came. They're like, we're ready for a fight. They finally made their decision. They're like, this is our only chance to fight the Volturi, and now they're gone.
1,500 years wasted.
Just totally wasted. And then it hit. Cheers erupted. Deafening howls filled the clearing. Maggie pounded Shaban on the back. Rosalie and Emmett kissed again, longer and more ardently than before. Benjamin and Tia were locked in each other's arms, as were Carmen and Eleazar. Esme held Alice and Jasper in a tight embrace. Carlisle was warmly thanking the South American newcomers who had all saved us. Kachiri stood very close to Zafrina and Senna, their fingertips interlocked. Garrett picked Kate up off the ground and swung her around in a circle. Stefan spit on the snow. Vladimir ground his teeth together with a sour expression, and I half climbed the giant russet wolf to rip my daughter off of his back and then crushed her to my chest. Edward's arms were around us in the same second. Nessie, 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 I crooned. Jacob laughed his big bark laugh and poked the back of my head with his nose. Shut up, I mumbled. I I get to stay with you, Nessie demanded. Which, side note, real quick, all of a sudden, from that moment, she changed from Renesmee to Nessie. Yep. Not even saying it verbally, but also thinking it.
Yep. Aww.
I get to stay with you, Nessie demanded. Forever, I promised her. We had forever, and Nessie was going to be fine and healthy and strong. Like the half-human Nowl, I don't remember what I said. In 150 years, she would still be young, and we would all be together. Happiness expanded like an explosion inside of me, so extreme, so violent that I wasn't sure I'd survived it. Forever, Edward echoed in my ear. I couldn't speak anymore. I lifted my head and kissed him with a passion that might possibly set the forest on fire. I wouldn't have noticed. End of chapter 38.
Stephanie just had to get one more in there on us.
Just one more. But hey, we're not done. We still have one chapter left.
Oh, God. Okay. Let's. Any comments on that before we launch into the final chapter?
I mean, she could have done this huge battle, but we are already well over 700 pages into this big book. So, I don't know. I mean, it's fine enough for me, I guess. I don't need a big dramatic battle. How about you?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how I feel.
I would have liked to see just Caius and Jane, probably.
Get their butts beat? Yeah.
Bye-bye. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I would have loved to see that.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know.
I feel like I should hold any additional comments for when we do the big overall talk.
Gotcha. That's fair. Which will be coming soon.
To a YouTube channel near you.
All right, chapter 39, The Happily Ever After. The others slowly trickled out. Vladimir and Stefan were extremely disappointed with how things turned out, but Edward said that they enjoyed the Volturi's frustration. Before the Amazonians leave, Zafrina has Bella promised to bring Renesmee to visit her. She does, and Zafrina tells Nessie that they'll be great friends. Carlisle tells Shaban, well done, the power of wishful thinking. She points out this isn't over. She imagines that they will try to pick them off one by one, but Alice will warn them when they intend to strike, and they'll gather again, perhaps when the world is ready to be free of the Volturi. Carlisle agrees if that time comes, they'll do it together. The Denali were the last to leave. Garrett was with them, and Bella suspected that he would be from then on. Hulene and Naul were the ones who stayed. Edward tells them all that Alice gave Arrow the excuse that he needed to get out of the fight. If he weren't so terrified of Bella, he would have went with the original plan. Bella was shocked, but Edward explains how things were from the Volturi side. Emmett points out that it's also hard to feel confident when they're surrounded by horse-sized wolves. And Jacob grins at him. Bella continues that the wolves were the ones to stop them in the first place. Jacob and Edward agree. Edward tells them that Caius is terrified of werewolves. He almost lost a fight with them a few thousand years ago and never got over it.
There it is.
Jacob snorts. Does that make him imaginary? Bella looks at Alice, and Alice sighed and tells her to get it off her chest. So she does. Alice explains that they all could have died, and she needed Bella to be prepared to save Nessie, and besides, she couldn't really tell Bella what was going on because even though Edward can't read her mind, she isn't a good actress. So true.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was also complicated. She didn't even know Naul existed. She couldn't see him, so she was searching for blind spots. Alice goes on, and Bella interrupts her to apologize. She just missed them. Alice laughed. She missed them too. Edward went back to analyzing everything from the day. Time went on, and Nessie fell asleep. Eventually, Bella asks if they should take Nessie, and Edward agrees. He is sure she didn't sleep well last night with all of Jacob's snoring. Jacob rolled his eyes, yawned, and says it's been a while since he slept on a bed. He's going to go to Billy's. Bella thanks him, and he tells her anytime, but she knows that. He then kisses Nessie's and Bella's head, punched Edward in the shoulder, and says he will see them tomorrow. He guesses things will be boring now. Edward fervently hopes so. Right before they reach the door, Bella asks Jasper why Jade Jenks is so scared just by his name. Jasper chuckles. It's been his experience. Some working relationships are better motivated by fear than money. Bella frowned and promised herself that she would take over that working relationship from now on. They said their goodbyes, and Noel was once again staring at them, like he had been earlier. Once they were in the cottage, Edward tells Bella that he is impressed by Jacob. Not once today did he think about the fact that Noel said Nessie would be fully mature in just 6.5 years. Bella tells him he doesn't see it that way, he just wants her to be happy. Edward knows that, but he's still impressed. She could do worse. Bella frowned. She wouldn't think about that for approximately 6.5 years. Edward laughed and said, well, we will have to worry about competition when the time comes. Bella frowned, and she knew Noel was staring at her. He wasn't. He was staring at Bella. All this time, he thought of himself as an evil creation and a murder by nature. All of his sisters also killed their mothers, and Joam raised them to think of humans as animals, and they were gods. but he was taught by Hulene and shaped their whole life, and it shaped their whole life. When he saw the three of them, he realized that just because he is half immortal, it doesn't mean he is evil. He looks at Edward and sees what his father should have been. He looks at Bella and sees the mother he should have had. Today, he is finally happy and finally started to forgive himself. After today, Bella has a new appreciation for what she does have. Edward walks Bella to their room and says it's a night for celebration and tries to kiss her. Bella stops him, though, and tells him she wants to try something. Shh. It's not what you think, Connie.
No, but I'm
Not yet,
trying to
at least.
remember. Oh, I remember this.
Do you?
I think
She
so.
wanted to try. She wanted to try what Safrina was trying to teach her before and tried to fight the automatic instinct to protect herself. Bella felt the elastic recoil. Edward was shocked, and Bella tried to focus on specific memories, her dim human memories. The first time she saw him, them in the meadow, when he saved her from James, their wedding, Esme Island, their new life, their first kiss, the first night. Edward's lips were fierce against Bella's, and he broke her concentration. Bella sighs she lost it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we cannot end the book any other way but to end with a book quote. I heard you, he breathed. How did you do that? Zafrina's idea. We practiced with it a few times. He was dazed. He blinked twice and shook his head. Now you know, I said lightly and shrugged. No one ever loved anyone as much as I love you. You're almost right, he smiled, his eyes still a little wider than usual. I know of just one exception. Liar. He started to kiss me again, but then stopped abruptly. Can you do it again? He wondered. I grimaced. It's very difficult. He waited, his expression eager. I can't keep it up if I'm even the slightest bit distracted, I warned him. I'll be good, he promised. I pursed my lips, my eyes narrowing, then I smiled. I pressed my hands to his face again, hefted the shield right out of my mind, and then stared in where I'd left off, with the crystal clear memory of the first night of my new life, lingering on the details. I laughed breathlessly when his urgent kiss interrupted my efforts again. Damn it, he growled, kissing hungrily down the edge of my jaw. We have plenty of time to work on it, I reminded him. Forever and forever and forever, he murmured. That sounds exactly right to me. And then we continued blissfully into this small but perfect piece of our forever. The end.
We're done.
We are officially done with the book side of the Twilight Saga.
Good point. Good point. Good caveat. She just had to get a little bit of affection in at the end. I get it. I get it.
Well, of course. It's a happy ending, Connie.
For those not watching but listening instead, you can see it in my face that I am holding back the joke that I would like to make, and I'm not gonna. Hi, Bear.
He decided he wanted to be a part of the ending.
Is he going werebear on us?
Not yet.
Final thoughts about this last chapter of Breaking Dawn.
You know, I did appreciate this last tie-in chapter. You know, I always love when it ends in like a nice like they wrap it in a bow for you and it's just very happy ending.
No, it is nice. It is very sweet. all the ways they could have ended it. I do like how it ended. Um, I do wish there was a little bit more about like any future that Alice sees of like Renesmee. Although Renesmee's a blank spot, isn't she?
She is a blank spot, yeah.
Well, that's why people are theorizing that the new Twilight books coming out are going to be about Renesmee.
There are more coming out.
Yes, supposedly the end of this summer. That's the
I
rumors I'm
mean,
hearing.
okay, I wanted to make the point of it was very obvious that she left it open for more books with the Volturi.
Oh yeah.
Very obvious.
I don't know. We will see.
Well,
I don't know.
well, we will have to reevaluate what we are doing with the podcast when and if those come out.
Yes. Now that we're finally at
But
the end, I'm just kind of like, oh, don't know what to
it's
say.
weird.
Yeah,
It's weird.
long time
No,
coming.
yeah, I will say, even if there are more books, I'm going to be excited and happy for just a, a break of these books. Get out of the world of Twilight for a little bit.
Yes. Oh my god, yes.
I
Oh,
mean, I will say my favorite book personally is Breaking Dawn.
interesting. Yeah, yeah, there
How
is a
about
lot
you?
more that happens in it. There's parts that I like from each book.
Hmm.
Overall, yeah, I think I lean more towards Breaking Dawn as my number one. Twilight's definitely the bottom one.
Oh, for sure. I mean, my number one is Breaking Dawn. Two, I would say, is New Moon, then Eclipse, and then Twilight. But trying to think. If it wasn't for how things ended, like for Jacob, New Moon might still be
Did you hear
what?
that?
No.
I think the school district around here got out today,
Hmm.
and there are kids running around our house, and one of them in a demonic voice just went, "I am going to get you."
Sounds like little kids.
All
They're
right,
having fun.
they're having fun. Oh,
What were we talking about before demonic hit? Oh, the how Jacob's ending. If it wasn't for Jacob, what happened with Jacob and imprinting on Renesmee, it would probably be like a coin toss between Breaking Dawn and New Moon.
and there was no other way for it to really end with Jacob. So like, I get it, but
I can say this now because we're done. We're done. Jody sent me a theory, and I have not been able to stop thinking about it since. Like Jacob was so like obsessive over Bella. What if he was meant to imprint on her, but because she's a shield, he wasn't able to, and so he imprinted on the closest thing to her, which is Renesmee.
I think was that may have been to our group chat. I don't remember, but I've
I
heard
don't
that theory.
remember.
Mm-hmm.
I read that and I was like, oh my gosh, that is so true. Like, maybe not true, but it's a good point.
It's a good theory.
It's a really good theory. I love that theory.
You
It's
know,
weird.
no, not weird, but like on the point of imprints, one thing I do wish we saw was Leah. I really wish we got a happy ending for her
Yeah.
because I'm like, oh, she just, hmm,
I mean, I don't know. I like to make up little endings in my head for things
same.
that we will probably never get it for. So I see Leah going where she was talking about, going to a different town, no longer, transforming into a werewolf, getting a job and figuring it out. I see her figuring out her life and being happy.
And aging normally, yeah, because she stops
And
transforming.
aging, being able to have kids if she so wishes.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I think there's a lot of interesting paths to go down.
Mm-hmm.
And
There are.
I do wonder how it plays out with Charlie and Renee. Just in the fact of like Bella not seeing them anymore. Well, I mean, she'll be able to see Charlie for longer, but Renee.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I see Charlie staying in her life for like the rest of his life.
That one. Yeah, I kind of forgot that he knew. Well, he doesn't know, but like
kind of.
knows. Yeah.
He's like, I don't care what's going on. I just want to be a part of your life. I won't ask questions.
That takes a type of restraint I don't know if I have.
I mean, if you know you can't ask questions, would you rather see your child and not ask questions, or ask questions and not be able to see your child?
I mean, that's like really hard because the nature of who I am is a person who asks questions.
I know. Versus me, I'm like, I could probably not ask the questions.
I would not ask the direct ones, but kind of like what Jacob did with Bella and the whole like, I can't tell you, but if you guess, that's where I sit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thump.
And then as far as Renee goes, who cares?
Number one anti-Renee fan right there. Wait. However, this is going to end up on cam. Imagine my finger is pointing at Jess, wherever that ends up for editing.
You're going to be this way.
Do this?
I'm going to be to the, yes, because you're always on the right and I'm always on the left.
Okay, so one of these fingers is right.
The top one was correct.
Okay. It's late for us. It's been a long day.
It has been. And wow, we're done. Kind of.
Okay, yeah. The movies are a little bit easier than the book.
We've made it through this ginormous book. The next ones won't be that big, I promise.
No. We'll get it. We'll figure it out. But any final thoughts on the Breaking Dawn?
No. Thank you guys so much for following along for our journey through the whole Twilight Saga, and make sure that you are following us on YouTube, because the YouTube exclusives will be coming out of Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2 movie reactions, and that'll be with me and Connie. And we obviously can't throw them on Spotify, so make sure you're following us on YouTube. And if you're going to do that, you may as well go to the rest of them to make sure that you're not missing out on anything else. They are linked down below.
Mm-hmm. I have nothing to add other than echoing your statement. Thank you for joining us on this year-plus journey. We hope to see you in the Breaking Dawn Part 1 and Part 2 reactions. And yeah, if you have any suggestions or any crazy theories about the books, leave them down below. We would love to see them, or, save them for comments on our movie reactions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until next time.
Bye.
Yes. 14 months.
And we're done.
Hi there.